But doesn't that come back to labels and definitions? Because aren't we at risk of, we do tend to, humans love to put each other in boxes. We find it safer, right? So
I don't know what goes on in your marriage, Amanda. In my home, we don't put each other in boxes.
I thought you were
We lay very politely next to each other, and then we shake hands at the end of it. No one needs to be confined.
I thought you were going to say you don't know what goes on in my box. I'm glad you didn't say that. Oh
I scarcely dare contemplate. It's not 2006.
But labels are divisive and they're egotistic. So should we all just stop labeling each other? I am, she is, we are. Is that dangerous?
Well, I suppose, Amanda, we have to be careful about that because, for example, as a white man, I can't afford to be dismissive about identitarian politics because a lot of people have had their identities, their rights oppressed, controlled, disregarded. So I can understand in those instances people being very keen to fight for their right to assert their identity. However, my personal opinion is that the truest sense of us, the deepest sense of us, or certainly of my own self, is not connected to my maleness or to my whiteness or my Essexness or anything except the kind of, what do I want to call it? The very quality of awakeness itself, the very quality of awareness itself. Sometimes you can fall backwards into it, the lagoon of your own being, and recognize that all information is coming to you through your senses, that you are the experiencer of your senses, not your senses themselves. We recognize too that the senses are limited, so we're only receiving limited data, limited information, when the potential for information is limitless. I just mean basic physics, multiverses, limitless space, all of that sort of gear. So I suppose what I'm saying is if you attach to particular aspects of your identity, it's necessarily going to involve oppositionism. If I over-identify with my Englishness, my maleness, even my jealousy. So for me, it's very important to recognise that these things travel through me, more like events. I try to see myself now as an event, hopefully a nice event, like a World Cup or something, or a children's party, not like a fire or kick up the arse. So what I see is I try not to attach to my individual attributes, even though, this shit's impossible. Look at me, I'm up on a stage talking. I've bothered to put these Nike shoes on this morning. But what I'm saying is that as long as we maintain a connection through prayer, meditation, or whatever method suit us with the experiencer of information, the pain in life for me is lessened. I suppose pain is what I'm interested in dealing with, and mine are pretty moderate. Even if you've been at this festival, you'll have heard people talking here that have been through unbelievable things. It's inspiring to see how people can pick themselves up after being laid low by life. But for me, like what I've heard from people that have been through greater suffering than I am, my relatively mediocre, ordinary suffering, is that they too have transcended their former identity, transcended their former limitations, transcended the narratives often imposed on them externally to find a different self, a truer self. For me, the analogy that I find quite helpful is that of the butterfly. No, it's an obvious one. You'll be way ahead of me. People don't like to hear analogies where you understand what it is from the first bit. If someone goes butterfly, you know this is going to be an analogy about metamorphosis. You think, don't fucking waste my time with the whole rest of this analogy, making me sit through the pupae and how many words you know about insects. Except I want to add this point, that there in the cocoon, someone told me pretty recently that it ain't just like the caterpillar sprouts antennae and wings. No, it deconstitutes, liquefies, dies unto itself that it may be reborn. So if you are suffering, if you are in pain, if you doubt yourself, if you doubt the direction of your life, if you feel unhappy about the relationships you're in, the work that you're in, if you're confused about this world and your time, be aware that this could be part of the process of your own personal metamorphosis. I have found this to be true.
Yes.